Hello everyone and welcome to today's Vaadin webinar. We are here today with Johan Rodin from IBM and our topic will be Cloud Foundry.
Yes.
And Cloud Foundry is like a platform as a service tool that's used by pretty many service providers.
Yes.
Like IBM. IBM has their like Bluemix service nowadays, and you're using their Cloud Foundry. And we are mostly talking about generic Cloud Foundry issues or usage and how you should use it, and then some pretty advanced trick as well in the end.
Yes.
After we get the basic Cloud Foundry push commands and such through.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning we will have some slides by Johan and then do the exercises. And in the end, if we only have some time, we have quite a lot of stuff in the presentations and examples, but if we have some time we can do some questions. But we'll see about that. We'll try to squeeze this into 45 minutes, so we don't have probably that much. But if you have some questions during the webinar, feel free to ask them on the forum page that you are probably using now to watch this video, and you can ask them also after the webinar, also tomorrow during the next week, and we will try to answer all the questions that might arise you when you try out Cloud Foundry, possibly during the next week or during the webinar. So I think we will start by your slides now.
Yes, we will.
Or actually, what are you doing in IBM?
Yes, that's a good question. So I'm a technical sales specialist. So I'm meeting a lot of clients and looking into their environments, doing like a qualification.
Yeah.
What can we do? How are they working today? How can we improve it?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of hands-on and installing and running
technical
things.
Stuff.
Yes, it is.
Technical marketing, pretty much what I do as well.
Yes, it is. It's very similar. So
yeah.
So I put together a couple of slides just to introduce what is Cloud Foundry.
Yeah.
What is the CF tools doing? So we dive right into a slide where I try to describe what I meet when I meet clients. We have conversation about their environment. Some are open source only.
Yeah.
They work in the open source world. Some are proprietary. They have their own tools. And some do have a mix, like an open plus, you can say. They have a platform. They're doing some stuff in some proprietary tools. They're doing some stuff on the web, open source. And I would say the feedback I get is that most of the open source clients, they say it requires a lot of effort to get it all working together, and a lot of maintenance to keep it running.
Yeah, and expertise to choose the tools and
yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and then the ones who have chosen the proprietary stuff, it's fine as long as they stay with the same vendor or same solution.
Yeah.
But if they try to shift, if there's some technology shift, they have to shift. It can be hard to move. So I think the sweet spot is where you can have the combination of the two, like an open plus and enterprise innovation platform.
Yeah.
So that is where you can see, and you can say that you have the open source capabilities, but you surround it with support and a platform that will help you.
You have some kind of commercial support for it. If you
yes.
end up having some kind of problems with open source product, then it's very good to have a product or company there who has some real support for you, and you know some phone number where you can call if you have an emergency.
Yes, it is, and so that will make up the background of this. So looking into Cloud Foundry, it's such a platform. It's a platform for the people. It's a multi-speaking, multi-language platform. You have Java, JavaScript, Python, PHP, Go, Ruby, .NET. So it's also the basis for Bluemix, the platform as a service from IBM.
Yeah.
And it's the foundation is established like 1 year ago. It was a community-based open source project, and it's becoming a de facto PaaS standard now in the industry.
Yeah. What other providers are there? What are your competitors?
We can mention a few like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Pivotal, the founding member of Cloud Foundry. Yes.
And HP is using it.
And HP too, yeah. So there are a number of participants or players out there. So that's the market. So what is Cloud Foundry actually? If you look into the bullets, it's an open standard for cloud applications. As I said, it's becoming a de facto standard. It's open source, multi-cloud, multi-vendor. Many people are contributing. It's a production infrastructure as well for the global enterprises. It is designed to make a DevOps part of the story.
Yeah.
So it's from day one we use DevOps. You can start small, you can build increments, you get feedback, and you deliver your product through that delivery pipeline.
So it's very easy to integrate into your systems because you have the command line tools that you can use.
Exactly, you can integrate it through the command line, like in your scripts, in your daily working environment. Yeah. So it's built for this fast cycle innovation. Try things out on the web, in the cloud, get the feedback and change and go back. Some of the benefits, if we're talking to the business, it's speed to market, higher rate of adoption. For development, it's scalable microservices, like small pieces you stitch together. You can do continuous deployment. Some of the benefits for operation, it's faster cycle time. It's higher reliability because you have this platform with the services. You can work much more in line with development. Instead of being a silo somewhere else in the company, you can be in line with development.
Yeah.
So for everyone, open source, it's a no vendor lock-in.
Yeah.
If something is not working, we can change, we can make another integration.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can also think that you can use your vendor lock-in in that way that developers can actually also recycle their expertise. If some other project is not using, for example, IBM's cloud solution, they can still use the CloudFoundry tools in some other provider. And
for their own competence, they can be of value in another situation, yes. So we put it another way, it's adopting CloudFoundry, that is, fast is now a necessity, it's not a nice to have. You need to be out there, you need to change rapidly. And CloudFoundry makes this change to fast, easy and scalable. So it's not about reducing cost, it's also about expanding the revenue, expanding the opportunities to new markets. So I put together a quite busy slide about what is the CloudFoundry foundation. If we look at this, it's in the middle we have centered around the principles, the governance, the intellectual property guidance, the equal opportunity, open processes. To the right we have the CFF mission to establish and sustain the CloudFoundry as the global industry standard for PaaS, platform as a service. It's also nurturing this ecosystem of contributors. We should deliver continuous quality, value and innovation through the technology. Provide a vibrant, ideal experience for all the contributors, and that is also for the global scale. Looking at some of the platinum members, we have IBM, HP, gold members, some of the companies we know in this region like Ericsson and Capgemini. Silver members, there's a little sign about Docker and MongoDB, just to mention a few. So the total contribution is now about 1,600 something. The average about 50 to 70 each month. It's about 800,000 lines of code currently.
Does that include also kind of plugins, all the...
Yes, all the stuff around. So
build packs and stuff.
It gives quite a nice view of what it is, like a summary page, you can say, a one-pager. Looking more into the specifics of what IBM is doing, IBM is contributing with the command line interface extensions, like plugin architecture.
Yeah, and we'll have an example of that in the...
Exactly, in the demo section, You can plug in new features with the plugin architecture. The Diego is a new version of the execution agent. We will talk more in detail about that in a short while, but that's another contribution. It's a rewrite of the execution engine. Some other things to mention is a Liberty build pack further down in the list.
Yeah.
That's a WebSphere application profile.
Yeah.
Build pack delivered. So IBM is a platinum sponsor. It's in the number 2 of contributions and it has one of the largest deployments.
Yeah.
So that's a bit about the background. Now we go into more details. So you can see that the frame of this slide is Bluemix, the platform as a service region. And zooming in, we have the CloudFoundry runtime. That is the topic for this speech
Yeah.
today.
And actually previously it was so that Cloud Foundry was like in the center because there was
Exactly.
no containers and
yes. So we added to that the containers and the virtual machines.
Yeah.
So that's another way of running things. But today we focus on the Cloud Foundry runtime. So just stepping into that specific part, we see that for the first we have the cloud controller. That is the interface. So you can interface with command line interface. You can interface through Eclipse, Eclipse plugin, and you can interface through the DevOps services, a web UI interface.
Yeah.
So the cloud controller would manage that, pushing and managing apps, create instances. It's a RESTful interface.
Yeah.
And before that we have the UAA, which is the user administration. Just to mention that. And then we go on into the droplet execution agent, sitting in the middle. That is the machine that takes care of the app lifecycle. Build the app, starting the app, keeping track of all the instances. We have the build pack that creates app droplets, and they execute on the agent. So on top of that we have the actual apps running. The Go router is actually directing the traffic from the internet and intranet.
Yeah.
And
So it's a front proxy.
Yes, it is. So if you have a load balanced application, it will keep track of that in a dynamic table and direct the traffic to the correct instance. And that is common for all the runtimes, the containers, the virtual machines, and the Cloud Foundry. The health manager keeps track of what is provided to the outside in the cloud controller, the state, what is actually happening inside of the execution agent. And it signals if there is a change. If something goes down, it signals back to the cloud controller, we need to change the state of the app.
Yeah.
So it's like constantly monitoring how is it going and what are we
How does
showing.
it work by default if you have it just like an average Java application, for example?
Well, you start up that in the Liberty container.
Yeah.
And then it will display itself like a running app with a specific state.
Yeah.
And if it for some reason crashes, then it will be signaled back to the health manager that will display it to the cloud controller.
So nothing that I need to do.
No, this is
happens.
hidden, you can say. It's underneath. We're looking inside the box now, into the engine, how it's working. So actually, as a user of Cloud Foundry, you have your user commands, and this is
I've been using Cloud Foundry quite a lot, making some examples and such, but I never thought that.
No, so this is an extra. It's a little more of a detail. So just to keep it. One of the things I would like to point out is the log aggregator or the log aggregator. That is something you can actually interface with the CF logs command to see all the logs. So this is all the logs written to system out, system R, HTTP traffic logs, and logs about the crashing or stopping of apps. So that can be managed and run through an external command. You can keep track of that and take actions upon what's happening in the logs. So that concludes that part about the inside of Cloud Foundry. Now we're changing a bit the perspective into the outside, the big picture. So IBM-based IBM Bluemix on Cloud Foundry. So in the middle here we have Cloud Foundry, we have Docker, we have OpenStack, we have your apps and your runtimes. But in the big cloud we have IBM services, third-party services, community services, and other clouds, other virtual clouds, and other public clouds. You can have your backend system like ERP systems, CRM systems.
Yeah.
That is all possible to connect in this platform to build your apps.
Yeah. So you can kind of grab existing services as well and connect those to your services.
Yes. So perhaps you find some interesting service in another cloud or on the internet. You can connect to that either through an API, or you can make it a web service or a REST API.
Yeah.
So just to summarize this part about the Bluemix different compute models, I think Cloud Foundry, it offers a very high level of abstraction. You abstract away a lot of the things, the details in the platform. There's not much flexibility out of the box, so to say.
Yeah. So it's very good for pretty standard applications.
Yeah, standard applications, easy to get started with, pre-packaged, You get up and running. It's a good environment to start in.
Yeah.
Looking at the other side of the spectrum, we look at OpenStack virtual machines. You get the virtual machine, you have your operating system, you can install pretty anything you like.
Yeah.
It's a lot of flexibility, but it's also not much level of abstraction. You need to care about the underlying structure, the middleware, the databases, how to connect, all the properties. In the middle we have Docker containers, one of the most recent interesting technologies that actually is pre-packaged. It's in between because it's pre-packaging a lot of the stuff in the containers and doing things in a similar fashion. So it's all about consistent experience. You have the same user ID and permissions model in the different compute models, and you can bind and consume services outside and in between them, of course.
Maybe we can have another webinar sometimes to check out Docker and virtual machines separately.
Yes, that's a completely another webinar, yes. Okay, so some of the benefits, just to summarize where we are in this Bluemix and Cloud Foundry together. Bluemix is more on the right side hand of this picture. Platform as a service, software as a service. You get these benefits of standardization, operational expense savings, faster time to value. You see that a lot of the things are managed by the vendor.
Yeah.
You bring your own data, your own code. Some of the things that is simplified is health management, load balancing, scaling, deployment, operation, system patching, security.
Yeah.
That is the things you need to take care about in the left-hand side.
Yeah, if you run your own services.
Yeah, that's the IT, traditional IT department. They need to worry about a lot of things.
Yes.
Okay. So 3 takeaways from this first part in the webinar is that Cloud Foundry is an open standard for cloud applications. Cloud Foundry is adopted because fast is now a necessity, not a nice to have. And Cloud Foundry makes it easy to do the right thing. It makes faster easy. And IBM has been part of this a long time, and we're systematically charting this with open technologies. We have an open architecture, open reference architecture, and we continue to contribute to the community.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see
let's look at Cloud Foundry in Bluemix.
Yes, we will take a look in our platform as a service Bluemix. So now I'm showing you.
Zoom in a bit. I think you zoomed out your browser a bit. So.
Yeah, I can zoom in a bit so we can see more of the details and the icons.
Yeah.
So right now I'm browsing the catalog. It's a service catalog, and you have, as you can see, you have runtimes, build packs. You have a lot of different services in categories like mobile. If you're developing mobile devices, this is the place to start look for services that can help you develop mobile devices, DevOps, web applications, and so on.
Yeah.
Going back up to some of the
boilerplates.
The boilerplates. A boilerplate is like a pre-packaged template with the things you need to get started.
Some kind of a template that you can use as a basis for your application. And there is a Vaadin template.
Yeah, there's a Vaadin template which have a Liberty runtime and a DB2 on the cloud database.
Like a pretty typical business application setup, that you have a Java application, like a Vaadin application, it's connecting to a traditional relational database.
Yes, it is, exactly. So for the sake of this, I've already instantiated. You just click on this, you give it a name. So this is my version of this, you can say. You can do this in your own instance of Bluemix. So what you see right now is a name for my application. It's appended some specific name, so it's unique.
Yeah.
I have the Liberty runtime. If we zoom in, the Liberty runtime for Java, I have one instance currently.
Yeah.
I have a memory quota. You can see that my database is connected. It's a service of this.
Yeah.
It's already connected. I don't need to take care of it.
So it's not running in the same virtual machine as the Liberty server, but it's a separate service.
It's a separate service. It can be shared. It can be accessed.
But it's running in the same data center and connected directly to your
So
application.
I can click on this. I can launch the admin console. I can go in and edit the tables, change the data, and so on. It's a fully. So if I run this, if I click on this link to go to the actual application, this is the running application. So it's a simple CRM system with a populated database with some data. And you can analyze some of it. You see some of the charts provided by Vaadin's framework.
Yeah.
And we have the map visualization.
Geographical visualization as well.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So one question I get on this is, how do you build this? How can you look into it? So
yeah, the source code for this boilerplate is available in the hub.chas.net, which is pretty much like a GitHub.
It is, exactly. So it's an option. If you like to develop on the web, you can do it.
Yeah.
There are different options, but this is one way.
Yeah.
So I can edit the code if I have some changes.
Yeah.
I do
and you can
clone.
actually edit in the web browser as well.
Yes,
so
I
you
can edit.
You don't need to clone it to your local.
Exactly, I can edit directly.
You
I
need to
can
check out
work
the cheat code.
collaboratively on the web with this. I can track and plan, like do agile planning.
Yeah.
And I can also build and deploy. And if I click build and deploy, I will see this pipeline of stages.
Yeah.
So this will actually create a delivery pipeline inside of Bluemix that I can use. So it symbolizes that I have a build stage, I have a deploy stage, I can add more stages, like a production stage.
Yeah. So each time some of your developers like commit the change, it will automatically start the build and deploy it automatically if the build succeeds.
Exactly. So it monitors if there is a new commit. It starts the build in Jenkins. If this passes, it will go directly into the next stage, do the deployment to the Liberty container. Then it will do some tests.
Yeah.
If you added some automatic tests. If that passes, we're ready to go and it's going live.
And this DevOps chain here, this is like using Cloud Foundry in this deploy stage. So after the build is finished, it will use Cloud Foundry commands, simple Cloud Foundry client side. Client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for push and
do the CF push. And
exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we should actually start looking at some client usage. Actually.
Yeah, we can see if we can change some of the code and.
Yeah, let's use another application. And I have already like created an account for my personal usage here, and I have also created one Java runtime application here. So I created this with Bluemix's this web console, but you don't actually have to do it. But I actually done it because you have like really nice built-in documentation that I don't need to know my actual CF commands.
No, it's a step-by-step guide. Yes.
We are not going to download the starter code here, but I have also installed this command line interface application also. And now let's start copy-pasting these commands to run my favorite application.
Yes.
Yes, so I have like a normal Vaadin application here, and I want to deploy that to Bluemix. So now we have the API endpoint. What does this mean?
It's which data center you're going to use. So there is one in London, Dallas, and Sydney. So I think you should take the one closest to you. That's a good rule. So.
Yeah, and then I will log in with a password and my email address. So this is like the same single sign-on that I have for all IBM services. So I think I have too many of those, but let's try to choose the right one. That one, copy the password. And authenticating, okay. So now I have access to the
to the
full Cloud Foundry services. So now I can use the CF commands, and here this would suggest me to use CF push. Actually, I should probably zoom in a bit so that users can actually see what we are doing here.
Exactly. Yeah, so the push command will take all of that, the source files you have in that directory.
Yeah. That's probably actually a bit bad idea in this case, because this is like my project's directory.
You have a lot of,
Yeah, so I have a build script and the actual sources here.
But if this is a pre-packaged application, I suggest you to use the jar. Yeah, you have a Maven package,
Yeah, so this will be building a jar file because it's actually a Spring Boot application.
Yes.
So I would just use Java jar and stuff like that, but I think that's okay as well. So in the actual example that we showed before, that was using traditional WAR files, and we would use just cfpush that WAR file. But now I need to use cfpush. I can use the service name.
Yeah, that will be the name of your app once it's running, and then you can add the flag P for the path to this actual target. Yeah, you had a pre-built jar file.
Yeah,
you can point that out. So it will skip all the things you have in your directory and just take that file and deploy it to...
And the parameter can be like a directory or jar file or WAR file or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but the default is just this directory. Yeah.
So now it will upload that Bluemix to the Cloud Foundry platform. It will install it. It will download the build packs.
Yeah.
It will rearrange a bit.
So it will kind of detect that this is a Java application.
Exactly. Since this is a jar file, it will see that this is Java, and then it will use Liberty. So that's our Java container.
Yeah. So so now we can see that it shows a Liberty build pack. And it's using IBM JDK or JRI.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So that's an environment variable you can set in Cloud Foundry, which you can use OpenJDK, for example, SDK.
Or different versions of Java.
Different versions of Java, that's another property you can set. So this is all controllable, but right now it's taking its defaults.
Yeah, and also with Cloud Foundry you can use any of the build packs you want explicitly as well.
Yes, exactly.
And customize those. Yeah,
you can customize those, so you can make the changes you need for your application. So right now it's contacting the...
Yeah, what's this droplet?
That's the droplet. That's the version of the applet, the version of the running system on your execution agent.
Yeah.
The DEA.
So that contains the JDK and the jar file that we just pushed in.
And the container, a running version of the container.
Yeah. Okay.
So now you can see that you have a running state.
Yeah.
You have one instance of your...
And it automatically created a URL or route to my application. Let's try it out.
Yes. So let's see it live.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a little starting page.
Yeah. And I have an application. I can do some changes and save it, and it seems to work just fine.
It shows up.
We can delete that if you want. Okay.
So let's try to make some change then to keep up this DevOps story that we have. So back in the code.
Yeah, let's make some stupid change here. New label. Hello, Bluemix, like that. And now we can do Maven package. So let's build a new version of the jar file.
Yeah, because this can be like you add a new service, you change some HTML files or something. You need to restage, you need to rebuild this application to keep it running. So.
Yeah, and now if I push do the same command, exactly the same command, I can push it out. Now it will take upload the new version of jar file, then it will take down the old version and start.
Yeah, for some minutes, so you can see that in your browser if you time this when it's actually doing the stopping.
Now it's stopped and it's starting.
If you go back now to your browser, you can see that it's not found because it's taken offline. It's down. Your application is down. So
well, if I would be running a real service, I wouldn't like to show this kind of stuff on my.
No.
So the manual way would be to actually push it with another name like Matti version 2 and then doing some CF commands to switch the traffic from the old route to the new application.
It requires some manual work to do it. So given it's just some HTML change, you couldn't think you can do it like a real-time update. You can just go in and change that. Yeah. It's a small change, you can do it in a live application. But if it's a bigger change, I wouldn't recommend that. I would do something you said, make changes in the routing table. Yeah. But it requires some knowledge and some effort.
Yeah.
So, and it's actually leading us into part 3 then.
Yeah.
But let's check if this is starting up, or do you think we should just continue? Or?
Yeah, it's still, it's a really quite big package actually, because it contains the JDK and Vaadin application.
It's a lot.
So it takes like a
1
minute or 1.5
just to see the change. We like to see the change, won't we? We're developers after all.
Hey,
so.
And I want to also put up some I want to have a cluster of these applications as well.
Yes, we can show that too.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now we have one.
Yeah, so now it's back up and you can see our change. We made a little hello Bluemix to it. Yeah, that's lovely. So one way to make this even better is to scale this application up front. So right now we have one instance. So if you type CF scale, the apps is
okay. Well, I have one instance only.
Exactly. Good.
And now if I want to scale it, it was
CF scale, and then your app name, the Matti app.
Matti app,
and then minus I for an instance, and then 2 or 4 or any number of instances.
And I think 2 instances is enough for everybody.
So that's okay, and then you
CF apps again. Now I can see that the other instance starts almost instantly.
Yes, it will. So now you have 2 instances.
Yeah.
That will be.
They are both serving the same response, so there is pretty much no difference at all.
Yes.
But you had some kind of like a more advanced method.
Yes, I would like to go back to my presentation just to tap into that and comment on that. So it's actually about a bigger problem, like the big companies out there. They don't take down their website just to do the update.
Yeah. Actually, we saw that Google was down for 1 second.
Yeah, it was when we entered this room. It was down.
It was probably just a faulty network
usually
connection.
It doesn't happen. So how do I update my app without an outage? There must be a way, and certainly there is a way. So the first part of this we already seen. We have to take the application offline. That is with the disruption.
Yeah.
Or we can do some manual tricks and doing the routes, renaming, and be really clever with the keyboard. The second part of this is that we do it with 0 downtime deployment.
Yeah.
So we can update the application seamlessly, letting the service do the hard work, letting Cloud Foundry do the hard work of doing this rerouting. So this is the part or the topic of this section.
So this was kind of the plugin as well.
Yeah, this is implemented as a plugin to Cloud Foundry. It's the active deploy plugin. So now we have the flexibility to test before we go to production. We can test in production. We can have fast rollback. So there's actually an active deploy service on Bluemix built on the Cloud Foundry active deploy. Yeah. So it will be a visual representation of that service. So this is the process behind it. It's a red and black process, if you heard about that. So it has 3 or 4 stages. It has the initial stage where you have your running application like you had.
Like the current version.
The current version, And then you like to ramp up the new version. It's like a little shadow there. You start with one instance.
You will be running new versions, and some traffic is directed to these new nodes.
So at the end of the ramp-up phase, we will see that all the new versions are ramped up and running, and all the traffic will go to them. Then we go into the test phase. We can do any test we like. It can be for seconds, minutes, or days. Yeah. If something fails, we can always roll back. Yeah. So
the old servers are kind of still running there as a reserve.
Exactly.
So exactly when we see that, okay, now all the charts in our monitoring table are showing some red and angry customers, we need to roll it back to the old version.
Exactly. So the black ones are representing the shadow. They're still running, but they have no route to them. They're still existing. We can quickly shift the route if we need to. And the last phase is the ramp down. If we see that it's working, then we can take out the old ones. And we just delete that app.
Throw away the old virtual machines and save some money because we can get rid of those.
So you can configure how much time you spend in each step, of course. So active deploy on Bluemix, that is a service designed for this. It will be it's currently in beta, but it will be deployed soon, and it will also work and expand to containers and virtual machines. So we will have this as another of those services, one of those bits and pieces you can stitch together to get a good working application. So major function is about update running production applications with no downtime. It can be automatic or manual. You can step through this process manually if you like. You have many out-of-the-box defaults to make it easy. It's fully configurable. It's user controlled. It has a rollback, and so on. So let's see this in action now.
Let's try it out.
So
you had this service running up.
Yes, I will now go to my...
Very simple web application.
Yes, it's a very simple web application. It's actually only a hello Vaadin world.
Yeah,
it's a
text file.
It's a text file, exactly.
Yeah, I actually have like a simulation of users here on my computer. I have a simple script which is like polling your service, and then if I do it, it will be constantly hitting your server. And as you can see on my console, it's hitting this text file, and
it will represent someone.
It will just make HTTP requests to the service.
Yeah. So if I go in and type CF for Cloud Foundry commands, I can list all my apps that I have. So currently I have an app called Hello App 1. As you can see, it started. It has 4 out of 4 instances running.
It should scale pretty well, especially if it's only serving this.
And the end, we can see that it has an URL, and that is one you're constantly monitoring.
Yeah.
So that's the basis of this. So let's make some change then. Yeah. We like to put on some new thing. We go into the code and we change to Bluemix, hello Bluemix world. I save this file, it's in an important step, so I have some changes. Okay.
And now we need to push a new version to Bluemix, but...
So I go to my directory where I have my development, and I push my new version. I call it something different than something hello app 2. And I make it a no route to symbolize that I'm not connecting any URL to it.
So there are servers that are started up, but that they are not accessible from internet yet.
So it will take out that manifest file that I have that will describe the application. It will upload it as a static build pack. In this case, because it's a simple, it recognizes
it recognizes there is no Java file or no PHP file or anything. So now it's using the most minimal server that it can use.
Yes, it is.
So static build pack.
It's picking up that, and you can see some of the.
So it's using Nginx
as
a service there. So it's very lightweight.
You can see that
smallest possible web server. That you
so
can
it's
have.
a very little. So it's only 2.5 megabyte.
Yeah.
So it's good for us. If I do the apps, CF apps, I can see that I now have the Hello app. That is good news. It started, it's one instance. But you can see on this side, there's no URL, it's empty. So it's running in the background, but I cannot access it.
Exactly.
That's a good...
And there is only one instance.
It's only one instance. So that's a good basis for now running into the active deploy. So with active deploy command, I can create this process, this chain of instances.
So this is a special Cloud Foundry command that you needed to update, install to your computer.
Yes, it's a package. It's a plugin I need to download and install.
Let's post the instructions how to do that to the forum.
That's a good idea. Because that's something you need to do in advance.
Essential stuff that you need to do if you want to try it out.
So I will create an active deploy from my hello app 1 to my hello app 2, and I will actually set the ramp up phase to 30 seconds. The default one is minutes. It's 5 minutes.
That ramp up time is quite small, I think.
Because it's for the demo sake. We shortened that to see it. So I create an active deploy from that app to that app, and I have a ramp up phase. So it's now creating that deployment, and now you see all the details. One thing to point out is that we're actually inside the ramp-up phase now. 11% of it's in progress. You see the duration of the test phase and the ramp-up.
And now we actually saw that there is now Bluemix coming up.
So it's coming up.
Some of the nodes
if
are already serving the new version. But
so I list the CF apps. You can see that I already started up 3. So they're now shifting in, coming into
pretty much half of the traffic should be going now.
You can see that on your listing.
And now more and more to the Bluemix.
15, and now we're up to that, and we can list.
So now
I can do an active deploy list. We can see which state it is in right now. So now it's in the testing phase.
Exactly. And as we see in the screen now, all the responses are reporting
Yes.
the new service.
So it will remain in the testing phase for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Of course, you can extend that to 1 day or a week, depending on how much testing you would like to do.
Yeah.
If something happens, you can see there's a spelling mistake or some service crashes, you can always roll back.
Yeah.
So let's test
And you
that.
still have the whole cluster of old versions there.
Yes, it is. Exactly. Good point. So with CF apps, you can see that we're still running the old one, the Hello
the
app.
instances are still reserved there, not thrown away, but,
Yes,
all
but
the
the
traffic
URL,
is going to the new version.
the URL is empty, so it's hidden. It's not published.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can simulate that rollback with the active deploy rollback.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I will need to take the name of this active deploy, and it's hello. It's consisting of, it's an auto-generated.
Yeah, and it's also shown there in the active deploy list command.
It's a mix of the two apps. So it's a hello app 1 to the hello app 2. So I will do a rollback on that. It will fail, cannot find. There's a spelling mistake. Yes, I can see it already.
Yeah,
it
there's one underscore missing.
It needs to be, exactly.
That's pretty well if that was our only demo effect in this webinar.
Yeah. So right now we're in, we can do a CF list again. Just to checking the state of this deployment. So now we're in the test phase. So let's see if something happened.
Yeah, you can see it already happened. So it was almost instant to get to the old version. So
there's a quick rollback. We can see that the instances for the hello app 1 is back to 4. We have a URL.
Yeah.
And
and it
this
also
candidate.
it took those instances down. So now you can, like, for example, create a separate URL for the new version and try it out with more time and see if it really bugs with the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and then probably make a new version and do the same thing again.
So that concludes that part about active deploy in the Cloud Foundry. You can see there is a few simple commands. You can set it up.
I think this is a pretty handy way to do it, and like a really good thing for real production stuff. Something that I'm not doing. I'm just doing these demos, but but I think our service department will be very happy about it.
Time for us to wrap up then, because we're reaching our time limit. And
exactly.
If I have some questions, there were some.
There was one question, at least from Lyre, about how do I build web services using Cloud Foundry?
Yes. So web services, I would say that you need somewhere to deploy your web services.
Yeah.
So I would say you should create them inside of your Liberty container.
Liberty is a very, very nice Java application server, actually. Yes. I think it's maybe the nicest one at the moment. It's so fast to boot up, actually, because of the OSGI container, so it doesn't load all the services. So
exactly, and we saw that in your demo, how you managed to push up, you can see the logs and so on.
Yeah.
So you build that inside of that container. Then you can connect to other APIs or services. It can be a third-party service somewhere. You can use Bluemix as the bridge to other apps that will also interface that. So that you can build up your ecosystem of web services.
Yeah.
So I hope that will answer the question.
Yeah. So it's like how you're hosting your web services.
Yeah, it will be a hosting of web services inside of Liberty.
Yeah. So you build the web services like you would do them in if you serve your web service in your own premises in a traditional servers, but you just host them in Cloud Foundry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you had the forum page as a final.
So this is the forum page. We will add those instructions how to install those.
We'll write that down. Yeah.
Install the active deploy plugin to your Cloud Foundry. Can you actually use that in other Cloud Foundry installs as well?
Yes, it is. So that's an IBM contribution to the community. So that's a delivered part. It's a standard plugin architecture that you can use in other instances.
So if you have a modern Cloud Foundry installation in some other place, you can also use this plugin in. Then,
you can download and install.
And if you have some other extra questions, you can just post them here.
Yes.
After the webinar, and we will be checking out those during the next week very extensively.
Very good.
Okay. I think we are pretty much finished today. We have spent the 45 minutes, and we wish you a very nice day, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.